today we'll be starting on factorial. So let's go from here. A factorial is a positive whole number. The product of all consecutive the product the product of all consecutive integral from 1 to n is denoted by n and is read as factorial. Let's start. Assuming we have n factorial, this thing here is what we call factorial. So assuming we have n factorial, now let's solve for this. First of all, n times n minus 1 open bracket times n minus 2 times n minus 3 infinity. Now let's go here. Assuming we have something like a whole number, a positive whole number. For example, 5 factorial. That will give us what now? 5, which is the 5, times 5 minus 1, 5 minus 2, 5 minus 3, 5 minus 4, and 5 minus 5, which will give us 0. Then let's start from here again. 5 multiplied by 5 minus 1, 4, multiplied by 5 minus 2, 3, multiplied by 5 minus 3, 2, multiplied by 5 minus 4, 1, multiplied by 5 minus 5, which gives us 0. But since it's 0, we are not going to add it. So this will be out, and this will be out. So we should just give us 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. That was 120. Then as when it's 10 factorial. That is how we are going to do it. We just do it 10 times 10 minus 1, which give us 9, times 10 minus 2, which will give us 8. So instead of us going to a long method, we just go like this. Since it's 10 factorial, we just start multiplying by the least number after 10, then after 9, after 8, which should just give us 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 and times 1. Now 1 is the least number after 10. So that is how I'm going to leave it. Which will give us what? 10 factorial will give us what? 36280. Now let us go to example. Simplify the following. Now we're going to just take two examples. A, 7 factorial over 3 factorial, and B, 9 factorial divided by 5 factorial multiplied by 4 factorial. Solution for the A, which is what now? 7 factorial divided by 3 factorial. Now, also earlier, 7 factorial will just give us 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Then divided by what is 6 factorial? 3, starting from 3 downward, 3 times 2 times 1. Now, there is two methods of doing this. It's either use your calculator to multiply all these together and note down the answer. Let's do it first. The same thing with this down one, 3 times 2 times 1, which will now give us what? 6. And our answer will be 840. Now, this is the first method. There's another method of doing that, which is just what? You notice that in the numerator, there is 3 times 2 times 1. And in the denominator, there's also 3 times 2 times 1. You just have to do what? You cancel out. Because the same thing. Then you multiply what? Everything together. You multiply the remaining values together, which is what? 7 times 6 times 5 and times 4. Which also give us what? 840. So that is the other method. Now let's go for the B. The B, which is what now? 9 factorial over 5 factorial multiplied by 4 factorial. Then again, you just work, you just solve for it. 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 divided by what again? 5 factorial. You go again. 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 multiplied by what again? 4 factorial. When you go again, 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So now, to use the first method I told you, you multiply all the value in the denominator. You multiply all the value in the numerator, then divide it by all the value in the denominator. So let's go. What is 9 times 8 times 7 getting to 1? That will give us what? 362,880 divided by, now, all the value in the denominator, which give us what? 2880. Then you just divide. You divide this value with this value, which give us what? 126. Now, using the second method, you can just do what? You can just cancel out 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 and all this. Then you just divide this value with this value and you also get your answer. Now let's go to more working example, more technical. Let's go. So let's take this example 2. Find the value of n if open bracket n plus 1 close bracket factorial equals 56 multiplied by open brackets n minus 1 close bracket. So let's solve this. How do we go about it now? Remember I told you that if you have something like n factorial, you give us what? n minus 1 n minus 1 times n minus 2 times n minus 3. So now let's make everything this n plus 1 n. Assume that everything in this bracket is n. So we're going to do now n equals to n plus 1. Let us now put n inside this bracket, which will give us now what? If it's n factorial equals to now n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2 multiplied by n minus 3 equals to 56 n minus 1 factorial. Now let us now input n to n plus 1. So anywhere we see n, we'll put n plus 1. Since we say that n equals to n plus 1, that will be what? N plus 1, which is this, open bracket, n plus 1 minus 1, open bracket. This n will be what now? N plus 1, then minus 2 equals to 56 n minus 1 factorial. The reason we stopped at n plus 1 minus 2 because we are looking for a value that will be equals to what? N minus 1. And this is it here. n plus 1 minus 2, that will give us what? N minus 1. Now let's go from here. N plus 1, n plus 1 minus 1 will give us what? 0. So we'll leave it. Now n plus 1 minus 2. Plus 1 minus 2 will give us what? Minus 1. That will give us what? N minus 1 factorial, which will give us what now? 50 equals to 56 n minus 1 factorial. Now we cancel out. Divide both sides by what? N minus 1 factorial. We just cancel out. That will leave us with what? N plus 1, then n equals to what now? 56. So now coming to this side, we just have to what now? Expand, which is what? N multiplied by n square, plus n multiplied by 1, n equals to what? 56. Now n square plus n, this 56 will come here to come to what? Minus 56 equals to 0. Now there's also another method of solving it, but for now I just want to expand. Later on we're going to use that method. Now we can use three methods here. Now from starting from here, we can use three methods. We can either use completing the square method, factorization method, or almighty formula from here. So now I'll be using what? Almighty formula. That will be n equals to minus b square plus or minus b, minus b plus or minus b square minus 4ac all over 2a. Then for moment formula, you know that this is our what? The coefficients of n square is our a, the coefficients of n is our b, and this will be our c. So if we know that our b equals 1 plus 1 plus or minus 1 square minus 4, our a is also 1, and our c is also minus 56. Now solving that, we are going to have 1 plus 4 over 2. Now n equals minus 1 plus or minus the square root of what? 5 over 2. Now that will give us what? Minus 1 plus or minus 15 over 2. Now n equals to minus 1 plus 15 over 2, or n equals to what? Minus 1 minus 15 over 2. You know that we're going to put, since it's plus or minus, we'll first of all solve with the plus, and again we'll solve with the minus. And this will give us what now? N equals to minus 1 plus 15 over 2, or n equals to minus 1 minus 15 over 2. N equals to what now? Minus 1 plus 15 will give us 14 over 2, or n equals to minus 16 over 2. N equals to what? 7, or n equals to minus 8. But we are picking what? The positive integral, which should be what? 7. Now n equals to 7. That is our answer. From here, we look at it up to this level. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, click the bell button, like, comment.